So patch 1.1.8 is out, and with it 8 new areas as well as even more monster infrequent and also 3 legendary items. First of all, I'm gonna just shortly show you all these items here and then talk about these really quickly, and then after that you can check out my basically VOD from last stream as well, where I went to the new areas the first time and also found these items for the very first time. So first of all, we have Sun Herald's Claymore from the Sunboard Spire. This one is a fire commando two-hander basically, which focuses around Fire Menhir's Bulwark and also Blast Shield. So yeah, basically a perfect commando item. Also it is attack speed based. You can see my rolls give me even more attack speed here, but yeah, this is attack speed based, so should be very good for either fire cadence or like fire blade arc, for example. Next up we have Chillblood's Carcass. Chillblood's Carcass will drop from the mini boss in the Arcovian Colosseum. Next to the Twin Falls Rift, you go like north and then you will be in the Colosseum. And this one is around Cold Bone Harvest. And also the proc is pretty nice because it has flat resistance reduction. 20 flat resistance reduction on a proc is pretty nice. But other than that, this is basically a cold ritualist shield, and I don't think that's necessarily like the best item type for that class. But yeah, maybe you can still make use of it. Next up we have the Karen of Grim Dawn, Naren Kur's Blade, and this one's basically a Chaos Blade for Chaos Witch Blades, which you could also like use maybe for like a Commando or even Tactician. But yeah, it's mostly around Chaos Fighting Spirit and Chaos Markovian's Advantage. And you basically find this boss in a dungeon next to the Broken Hills Rift. Like you go to the Broken Hills Rift and then you go north through like a small tower and then you go down to a dungeon. Next up we have Bluggrug's Plagued Edge. This one is from Malmouth, so Act 6. There is a new area within Steelcap District, basically between Steelcap District Rift and Crown Hill Rift. There's an area close to the dynamite site where you can blow up the barricades, and down there's a dungeon where you can find this boss that drops this item. This is basically a Vitality Word of Pain, also like Elemental to Vitality conversion item, which is very similar to the Decree of Malmouth actually, but attack speed based instead of CDR based. Next up we have Rodnix Blaster. This one is from the Arcovian docks, which are basically across the bridge in Twin Falls, but first time you go there you have to like repair it from the Pine Barrens side. So like first time you have to go from Pine Barrens over to basically next to Tyrant's Hold, and then after you repair the bridge you can farm this boss by just going from Twin Falls Rift and then crossing the bridge. This one is around Aether Righteous Fervor and also Aether MOE, like duration to MOE as well. So you could either try to make another of those high duration MOE builds, or you could just use this for something like an Aether Paladin. So like use Inquisitor as a secondary, because Inquisitor does have proper range and Aether support. Next up we have Abdovs Sermons. This one is an offhand from the Burwich Cathedral, which you will be able to access via East March. This one is around Chaos Color Store, and yeah, that seems pretty fun to play, I would say. Also it will probably look very nice. Next up we have another monster frequent from the East March actually. This one is down to the south within East March. This one is Gabriels Mark, which is basically a Scepter medal focusing around Flame Touched, Chaos and Fire to Cold conversion to Flame Touched, which in this case basically means it's global conversion, so it will also convert 50% of your fire and chaos damage on, for example, Fire Strike towards cold. Also it adds piercing damage to Shadow Strike, which you, I believe, can convert via like an amulet or something like that to cold as well. So these are the 7 new MIs from the 7 new areas where you actually also like have to fight mini bosses. Now there's one additional new area, which is basically over here in Devil's Crossing, right? This one over here. This is basically the, well, old grove in quotation marks. And there is a scrap pile there, which basically always drops the totally normal Arbiter, but it has like a 1% chance to drop another shield. And that shield is the totally normal Guardian. This one apparently has like a 1% chance to drop from that scrap pile as well there in the old grove. I haven't found it myself yet, because yeah, 1%, right? Good luck getting this. Also, I don't think it's like worth it to like try to get this. I mean, if you get it, sure, you're lucky. Congrats, you got like another meme item. If you don't, whatever. Now the third legendary item of the pack is the Night Shard. And this one does have +1 Occultist, Necromancer and Shaman, and also Poison and Code resistance reduction to Devouring Swarm and Siphon Souls respectively. and it is more like a offhand that can also block than a true shield, I would say, because like this one also has CDR on top. Like this is really good. Also, like it's supporting basically no shield masteries. So yeah, this is a very interesting item to like play around, I would say. And yeah, I'm gonna look forward to like which builds you guys can fit this one into. There's still more. There are monster frequents that now drop from older bosses, for example Anastasia. If you decided to kill Anastasia and you, for example, wanted to farm Outcast's hood before, you can also like farm her pants now, right? Anastasia's leg guards and Anastasia's leggings. The leggings having DA and Chaos Wrath, as well as +3 to Shadow Dance, Ozian's Wrath, Field Command and Storm Touch as a base. And the leg guards having offensive ability and vitality resistance, as well as +3 to Aspect of the Guardian, Notification, Arcane Empowerment, and Mark of Torment as a implicit. So yeah, these are pretty good to look out for now as well, if you want to have like some good +3 to a certain skill on your build. Also, there is finally another reason to go hostile with Barrowhome again, because Navadea the Screecher, the boss down and the Cellar, now has 2 monster frequents as well. The first one being Navadea's Horns, which have cold damage to Vindictive Flame. This is also not global conversion, the fire to cold conversion on this one. This is only gonna be conversion locally for the damage of Vindictive Flame itself. It doesn't convert any like global fire to cold. But it also adds flat cold and physical resistance to Pneumatic Burst, which is arguably the better like modifier here, and that's pretty interesting. Also, we have Namadea's Eye, which is, I would say, even more interesting because it has Pierced Vitality to Ranged Expertise, also more Lifesteal to Ranged Expertise, and then Vitality damage and % Vitality damage, as well as % Elemental damage converted to Vitality to Spectral Binding, which basically make this a perfect medal if you want to play a Vitality ranged Apostate. This medal, I mean, Apostate doesn't really seem like the best class for like ranged Vitality, dual wielding or like two-handed playstyle, but this medal alone might make that archetype work, because this medal is like really sick, I would say. And there's still more. Last but not least, we have the Brothers Distinction. This is a item that you will find in Boris's pit from 2 characters that are not called Boris, and this is gonna be very nice for a certain multiplayer game mode that we've been playing a couple of times now. So yeah, that's gonna be it for all these items. There are like 12 items in total, 12 new monster frequents basically, as well as 3 legendaries, so a total of 15 items actually, and 8 new areas. So yeah, these items alongside their bosses, as well as the areas that those bosses spawn in, and also all the new changes to weapons and especially masteries on this patch, are basically the core features of this patch. So yeah, make sure to also check out my patch notes comment video, as well as my VOD where I actually go to all those places where you will like find the new bosses and the new items. Thank you so much everybody for watching, and I hope to see you around on the next one. Bye bye.